Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny. If this is your first time seeing this channel, thank you for stopping by, and also thank you to my host subscribers for all your support. Don't forget to subscribe, share and like this video. Today's video is the cutting part of this beautiful style you can see right here. Let's get into it. Welcome again guys. So this is the material that I'll be using for today's tutorial, and I have 6 yards of Ankara, which is also known as African print. So these are the measurements that I'll be using for today's tutorial. So guys, I've gone ahead to rule out my lines. So from the starting point, I came down by 5.5, that is I off 5.5, so you can go as low as 6 to 8 inches. So still placing my tape rule on the starting line, which is my 5.5. I came down by my armhole length, which is 7.5, my bust point, which is 10 inches, my under bust, which is 13.5, and my waistline, which is 17 inches, so which is also known as my half length. So from the center front, I went in by 3.5 inches, which is my bust span. So divide your nipple to nipple measurement by 2. So whatsoever you have, go ahead and place it right there. So coming to the top, instead of marking that 3.5, I'm going to add ½ inch to it, just like this, because connecting from the bust point to the shoulder is not always straight. So this is what I do. So if you have been following this channel, you should know how to draft a bustier. So from the center front on the under bust, I went in by 1 inch. So at the side front, I went in by 1.5. So coming to the waistline, what you have at the side front, you are going to minus ½ inch from it. Then also on the center front, you are going to minus ½ inch. Then I went ahead to connect it with a straight line, as you see me doing like this. So after connecting it, I also connected this curve part, that is from the under bust to the bust point, as you see me doing like this. So you don't need to make this part very sharp. You don't need to make it so sharp. So you can see how I curved it at that part. So coming to the top, I'm going to mark 1 inch at both sides, so you can see what I have. Then I'm going to connect it all the way like this. So just go ahead and connect it like this. So you can use your free hand. So after connecting it, guys, you can see what I have. So coming to the top, I'm going to be using the neck width of 10 inches. So you can use 6 inches depending on your size. So I'm going to divide that 10 inches by 2, which I got 5 inches. Then I'm going to place my tape like this from that leg to the center front. So whatsoever you have, just place it on the other leg. Then I'm going to mark my 5 inches. So coming to the chest line, divide your bust measurement by 4. Then you place your tape like this. So whatsoever you have, you're going to place it on this other leg and continue with your measurements. Then you're going to add 2 inches stitching allowance to it. So the reason why we are placing our tape like this, as you see me doing like this, is because the darts on the pattern will no more be needed. We are going to be cutting it off later on, so it will not be needed anymore. So that is why we have to skip the darts, as you see me doing like this. So this is the easiest way of placing your body measurements. So after doing this, I added my 2 inches stitching allowance. Then I'm just going to go ahead and connect these lines together like this. So after connecting, guys, you can see what we have. So it's time for me to roll out my armhole. So this bustier is not going to have a sleeve, so that is why I'm using a slant line at the armhole part. So coming to the bust point, I'm going to go down by 1.5. So that is the difference between the front half length and the back half length. Then towards the bust point like this, I'm going to go in by ½ inch. Then connect the lines together like this. So this bust that we took out, we are going to subtract it from the front half length, which is going to give us the back half length. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead and open this part up like this. So after opening it up, just go ahead and close this dart at the top area like this, as you see me doing. So you can see the shortage at that part. I'm just going to blend everything in like this. So this is what we call contouring. So after that, I'm just going to also blend it in with my free hand, as you see me doing like this. So after blending, you can see that there is no more shortage at that part again. So coming to the bust dart, I'm going to be closing it up. So always remember to close up your bust dart. So I normally use bust dart whenever I'm going to have a lacing at the back of my dress. So you can see that there is a shortage at that part. So I'm just going to also blend everything in like this. So when I'm using a zipper, I don't always take out my bust darts, except if I'm going to be having a lacing at the back of my dress. So then I went ahead to cut it out. After cutting it out, you can see how this bustier pattern came out. You can see how lovely it's looking, and you can see that the lines actually matched up together. So right now I'm going to be using these to cut out the back pattern. So to cut out the back pattern, go ahead and place the front pattern on a piece of paper. Then I'm just going to mark out the armhole line and also the waistline. So that is how low I want the back to be, at 7.5. So if you don't want it to be too low like this, you can also go up by the number you want it to be. So coming to the chest line, I'm going to mark out my bust measurements divided by 4. Then I'm going to add 2 inches stitching allowance to it. So coming to the waistline, divide your waist measurement by 4, add your 2 inches stitching allowance and 1 inch for that. So this back piece is going to have a dart. So after connecting it, guys, you can see what we have. So from the center back, I'm just going to go in by my bust span, which is 3.5. Then after marking it, I'm going to connect it like this. So after connecting it, on the waist area, I'm going to mark ½ inch at both sides, as you see me doing like this. So just mark ½ inch, then you connect it to the chest line like this. I'm going to tighten my back neckline so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to tighten it up by 0.25. So it's necessary you tighten up your back so that it will be able to relax properly on the body. So guys, after connecting it, this is what I have. So you can see that there is no zipper at this back area because I'm going to be using a loop, so no need of adding your zip allowance to it. So I went in from the center back by 1.5. so that is how open I want it to be. So you can go as much as 2 inches to 3 inches. So this is where the loops are going to be placed. So after then, I went ahead to cut this out. So also at the dart area, you can see how I cut it open. So after cutting, guys, I'm going to indicate that these two pieces are going to be joined together like this. And I'm also going to mark this as the back. So guys, these are the panels for the front and the back. Coming to the skirt part, I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into two like this. So to get the length of the skirt, go ahead and subtract your half length from your gown length. So after doing that, I got 13 inches. Then I added 2 inches stitching allowance to it, making 32 inches. So on that starting line, I'm going to mark my waist measurement divided by 4. Then I added 2 inches stitching allowance. So from that waist area, I went down by 8 inches, which is going to serve as my hip line. So at that hip line, go ahead and divide your hip measurement by 4. Then add your 2 inches stitching allowance to it. So whatsoever you have on the hip area, you are going to subtract 1.5 from it, or you can subtract 2 inches depending how pencil you want the skirt to be. So I think 1.5 is okay for me. So after that, I connected the points together. Then coming to the waist to the hip line, I'm going to connect it with my pattern master like this, with a curve at this area. So guys, the next thing for me to do is just for me to go ahead and cut this out. So you can see how I'm cutting it out. So coming to the center front, I'm going to notch it to know the center of the front pattern. So this is it. I'm going to use it to cut out for the back. So I've folded another fabric for the back, and as you can see, so you can actually cut the back and the front together, but I just want to illustrate something here. So you can see what I'm doing. I went in by 2 inches. So this is going to serve as the zip allowance. So on that line, you're going to place the front piece on the line like this. Then go ahead and trace everything out like this. So guys, you can see what we have. So coming to the zip allowance part, I'm going to slit it open. I can actually cut the front and the back together. So what I did is I came down by ½ inch from the top of the center front, and I curved it this way as you see me doing. So after that, I'm just going to cut it out. Guys, after cutting it out, I make sure I notch the zip area for me to be able to know the zip area when I'm sewing it down. So what I'm doing at the hem, we are just going to go up by 1.5 inches. So remember we added 2 inches stitching allowance. So I'm going to fold it up by 1.5. So that folded area is where the lining is going to stop. If you don't understand what I'm doing, when I'm stitching it up, I will explain more at that area. So you can see where I notched to. That notch place is where the lining is going to stop. So it's not going to go all the way down to the end of the main fabric. So coming to that center front, you don't need to notch it at that part. Don't notch the center front. It's just the side front you have to notch. So guys, I've gone ahead to place my patterns on my fabric, and I added my stitching allowance to the front panels, as you can see. So towards the side, there is no need to add any allowance, and also on the back panels, I went ahead to add my stitching allowance. So then I'm going to be cutting them off like this. So guys, after cutting, this is what I have right there. So this is going to be our next tutorial. Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Bye.
On the pool, talk to you, dripping wet. Nervous when I speak, so I trip on my